All right, so we're going to compare two of the top neighborhoods here in Temecula, California. We're going to compare the neighborhood of Morgan Hill versus Sommers Bend. So these are two of the top neighborhoods and two of the most requested. When I'm working with clients, these are ones that always come up, and I think there's good reason for that. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader with the Short Real Estate team here at Keller Williams in Temecula, California. And in this video, we're going to talk about two of the top neighborhoods here in the city of Temecula. We are going to compare Morgan Hill versus Sommers Bend. And these are definitely two of the top neighborhoods. These are neighborhoods that come up a lot when I'm talking with clients, especially with you guys that are relocating here. They've come up before on my top neighborhood videos, and these are two of my favorite neighborhoods in the city. So hopefully it'll be good information for you guys to help compare, kind of talk about the pros and cons to each. And hopefully, like I said, be some good info. So before we get into all the information, if you are liking real estate videos like this, please do me a favor. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Obviously, it helps me. It helps my channel as I continue to grow it. And then if you guys have any real estate questions, of course, I'd love to hear from you. So you're going to see my information either down below or at the end of the video. You can feel free. You can call, you can text, or you can email me. Love to answer any questions you may have, help point you in the right direction. Or of course, if I can help you out with your search, I would love to be a resource. Love to help you do that. Obviously, that's how I earn a living. So would love to help you out with that. So let's get into all the information. So again, I think we're going to start with Morgan Hill. We'll compare Morgan Hill versus Sommers Bend. Morgan Hill is, in my other videos, I mentioned this, but I think it's really the top tract home community in Temecula. Full disclosure, I actually live in the second neighborhood. I live in Sommers Bend, so I'm probably a little bit biased that way. But these tend to be the top two for people when they're looking at Temecula, and they're definitely not on the lower end price wise. They tend to be definitely more on the middle to higher end price point. But I think there's good reason for that. So we'll start with Morgan Hill. I guess the easiest place to start is location and year built. So the Morgan Hill, where it's located, it's part of South Temecula. So if you're looking at a map, you have the 15 freeway that runs more or less pretty north and south. The most southern off ramp in Temecula is Temecula Parkway. That's a main road. You also see it referred to as Highway 79, 79 South, but that's Temecula Parkway. So anything south of Temecula Parkway, any homes or neighborhoods that are south of Temecula Parkway, that would be considered South Temecula. So why that's important is South Temecula tends to be the most desirable part of the city. There's a few reasons for that. Number one is so many people live here and commute. So if you live here and you're making that commute, especially down to San Diego, if you live in the southern part of the city, it is much easier to get on that freeway quickly and jump on the freeway and just head south and get a jump on traffic. If you live on the northern part of the city, you are, especially at rush hour, that 15 freeway really bottlenecks up, and it is super slow moving. So the difference from in your commute time from living in the southern section of the city versus the northern section of the city, it might only be, it's 2 exits up. By the time you factor in all the side streets, it might take you an extra 20 minutes to get home. And that's just one way. So it might be 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night extra on your commute. And so for an extra, it's 40 minutes a day. You're getting close to an hour now. That really tends to make South Temecula, so desirable. So that's the number one thing. The number two thing, and this actually applies to the neighborhood of Morgan Hill as well, and what makes it so desirable, is where that neighborhood is located. It is zoned for the top high school in the area. So the Temecula Valley Unified School District is a very highly rated district. Across the board, almost all the schools have really good ratings. From 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10s, and 10 out of 10 ratings across the board. There's 3 high schools that are in the city. They're all really good high schools, but without a doubt, the top rated and the number one is that Great Oak High School, and that is located in South Temecula, and so you have to live in that southern area in order for your child to be able to go there. That's where they're going to be zoned, right? So That is a huge plus for South Temecula. That's a huge plus for Morgan Hill. And then the other thing that makes South Temecula so desirable is that main road that I talked about, which is Temecula Parkway. It's really, really developed. So there's a ton of shopping that's there. There's, from shopping to restaurants, Walmart, there's, Home Depot, there's multiple grocery stores, multiple shopping centers, Chipotle's and small businesses and all types of stuff. So it's almost like its own mini town that is right there. And then plus, of course, you're fairly close to all the other cool stuff that's going on in the rest of the city. But those are the three things that really make South Temecula so desirable, and that's one of the things that makes the neighborhood of Morgan Hill so desirable, is because you're part of that South Temecula area. So overall location is definitely a big plus for Morgan Hill. Number two, second thing to know, second point, Morgan Hill is a little bit, it's on the newer side for Temecula as far as when the neighborhood was built, but it is not as new as the other community, the Sommers Bend that we're talking about. So the average home in Temecula, most homes were built probably from like 1995 to like 2005, somewhere in that range. That's when most of the new home communities were developed. And you have these big mass home builders that were in here and building. So Morgan Hill is on the newer side of that. You're going to see homes built anywhere from like 2005 to 2013. So definitely newer than most parts of Temecula, and especially compared to South Temecula, it's one of the newest. So that's going to be a big plus. It's just that's a little bit newer. That's one of the things that people like about it. Just a little bit more of a newer community. So next thing to talk about is the layouts. Because of the year built, they tend to be somewhat open. So you started getting, everyone nowadays wants these open concept layouts, right? And these big, great rooms that are very, very open. And when you started getting homes built 2005, 2010, 2013, you were definitely seeing some of those layouts from the builders. So they tend to be more open concept than the older homes that are, say, built in the 90s that you're going to see throughout a lot of Temecula. So that's a plus for Morgan Hill. But maybe not as open as what a new construction home would be today. So it's kind of moving in the right direction, but maybe a little bit boxier than what some people might actually prefer. So again, the other thing I wanted to, I guess I'm re-mentioning it now, but just the overall location, where you're at in South Temecula, it is a big plus when you're living in Morgan Hill, that you are close to so much shopping. Again, the grocery stores, again Walmart, again restaurants, and all the other stuff. It's all within probably a 2 to 5 minute drive. So that's going to be that's a big plus as well. I also wanted to mention, the amount of homes that are on the market. So when I have clients that are looking to buy in Temecula, one of the pros about Morgan Hill, it is such a big community that there's always a good amount of homes that are for sale. So at any given time, there might be anywhere from 10 to 20 different homes. If I had to guess, there's probably about 2,500 homes that are part of the Morgan Hill community. So because of that, there's always a lot of resale homes that are on the market. Obviously, all the homes were built from 12 to 18, 19, 20 years ago now. So there's a good amount of churn that's happened, and just kind of your natural movement, people upsizing, downsizing, whatnot. But you're always going to see a constant flow of resale homes that are on the market in there. And then, as the name implies, so the name of the community is Morgan Hill, which the reason that it's that way is because the community is built on a hillside. So you're going to go up the main road, and you start kind of trekking up, and you see that the community is really cut into this hill. And so with that, half the homes that have these really cool view side lots where you can be on the outside of the street, and it really opens up. You have a great view of the entire Temecula Valley, and that's a huge plus. So that is not the case for a lot of different areas in Temecula, but Morgan Hill, because you're on the hill, you have some really, really cool views. Again, that's about half the homes, because half the homes are across the street that don't have that same view. They're more landlocked on the inside and positioned in a different way. But you do get some really cool view lots in Morgan Hill, so which is nice. And then what I think is one of the biggest pluses about the community is the HOA is a really good value. So they upped to the HOA fees pretty recently. It's now $119 per month, which is still, I think, very reasonable. But for that, you get a ton. So you have a really nice clubhouse. You have a massive community pool, a really cool, big, large community spa. There's like a kiddie pool area that's there as well. There's tennis courts. There is like a barbecue area outside. There's a kids play area. There's a gym. There's just a lot of amenities that you have. So, for a little more than $100, I think it's the best value as far as HOA goes in Temecula. And again, to be in really one of the top neighborhoods in a prestigious neighborhood, I think it's hard to beat. So. And then the overall price range that you're going to look at in Morgan Hill. So you'll see homes, again, it is a nicer community. It's going to be on the upper end price-wise, but you'll see on the lower end of Morgan Hill, you'll see homes priced right around that $760,000, right around to $800,000 range. That's kind of the entry current pricing in 2025. And then you'll see a range from that all the way up to something that is bigger with a view, or bigger lot, or bigger home, or better construction, or more upgraded, etc., all the way up to north of $1 million, north of 1.2, 1.4, 1.5 million plus. So there's a pretty big range, and there's even a couple streets that have these real like semi-custom estates that are going to be right around the $2 million range. So there's a pretty good range. They're all single family homes that are in there. There's no gate on the community, but it's a pretty large range of different types of homes, from something smaller that's a little bit more on like an average price point, all the way up to your super high end, very luxury on the high end. So hopefully that's a good explanation of Morgan Hill, and then we'll compare that versus Sommers Bend. All right, so now we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the neighborhood of Sommers Bend, and we'll kind of go over some of the differences. So I guess the first thing to talk about would be location, kind of overall, where the neighborhood is at, where it's located. So Sommers Bend is not located in South Temecula. It's really more in like the northeast corner or so of the city. It's actually as far east in the city of Temecula as you can go before you get out of the city limits. So like the street behind it becomes part of Temecula wine country, which is just county. It's not within the actual city limits. So very east, more northeast of the city. What makes it so desirable and why it comes up on my list, and why so many people bring it up to me, is because of the fact that it is still a brand new community. So you started seeing homes in that community that were starting to be built in 2020. It's now 2025, and there is still new construction that's going on. They're getting close to wrapping up like the single family homes, but there are still some condos that are being built. They're actually getting ready to open a new phase of single family homes. It's going to be another couple hundred homes, and they have some of the higher end